ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। प्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोक भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय श्रेष्ठ नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्री भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 6 चैप्टर 16 वर्स 11। न दत्तात्महि गुणं न दोषं न क्रियाफलम् उदासीनवदासीनः परावरदृगीश्वरः। The Supreme Lord, Atma, the creator of cause and effect, does not accept the happiness and distress result from action. So this is similar to Bhagavad Gita verse. Na datte kasit na chaiva vibhu. So he does not accept. Na datte. He does not accept happiness and distress that result from fruitive actions. Um, he is completely independent of having to accept a material body, and because he has no material body, he is always neutral. The living entities, being part and parcel of the Lord, possess his qualities in a minute quantity. Therefore, one should not be affected by lament. So, the Supreme Lord, he is the creator of cause and effect, does not accept the happiness and distress that result from fruitive action. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that conditioned soul is responsible for his actions, and the Lord does not accept that his individual soul's happiness and distress. And also because he has no material body, he is always neutral, which means that those who have material body, they will not be neutral. They will be going up and down. Meaning, when there's happiness, there is jubilation and stress like that. One second. So, and the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna, so they possess his qualities in minute quantity. Therefore, living entity should also not be affected by lament. Because the Lord is not affected by it. He is neutral. Udasinavat. Exactly like a neutral man. Conditioned soul has friends and enemies. He is affected by the good qualities and faults of his position. The Supreme Lord, however, is always transcendental because he is the Ishvara, the supreme controller. He is not affected by duality. So he is called neutral. May therefore be said that he sits in the core of everyone's heart as the neutral witness of the causes and effects of activities. Good. Mm. So he sits in the cause of everyone's heart as the neutral witness, meaning he is not affected by our good and bad. Normally, when we are affected when others suffering, etc. But he is not affected in that sense because he's sitting as the neutral. And then Prabhupada says, then we should understand that Udasina, neutral, does not mean that he takes no action. Rather, it means that he is not personally affected. For example, a court judge is neutral when two opposing parties appear before him, but still he takes actions as the case warrants. To become completely neutral, indifferent to material activities, we should simply seek shelter at the lotus feet of the supreme neutral person. See, okay, this is important one. Udasina, no, Udasina actually means indifferent. So we should be indifferent to material activities, material reactions. Indifferent means, again, though that people don't understand it wrongly, Prabhupada is using neutral, meaning not affected by happiness and distress, and just doing things because we have to do it as a matter of duty. And if we are not able to do that, then we have to simply seek shelter at the lotus feet of the supreme neutral person. Krishna is the supreme neutral. We also have to become neutral towards all happenings of this material world. And even whether actions, reactions, everything, we have to become indifferent. So if one who is not able to become indifferent towards material activities, such a person should simply seek shelter of the lotus feet of the supreme neutral person. The supreme neutral person can enable us to become neutral. Mm. Again, neutral means not affected, indifferent. If we are very affected by material activities, then we can't be indifferent. And we every small thing is something of importance for us. Mm. Mm. Maharaj Citraketu was advised that remaining neutral in such trying circumstances as the death of one's son is impossible. Nevertheless, since the Lord knows how to adjust everything, the best course is to depend upon Him and do one's duty in devotional service to the Lord. Mm. So it might, for normal person, it might seem impossible. But one who takes shelter of the Lord and engages in devotional service, for him, it's not very difficult. In all circumstances, one should be undisturbed by duality. Karmanyevadhikaraste na akarma phala hetu bhur nate. Try to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits. One should execute one's devotional duty, and for the result of one's actions, one should depend upon the Supreme Lord. So we have to depend on Krishna. That's all. We have to just do our duty. Whatever is going to come is going to come. Now, even when we are faced with trying circumstances, difficult circumstances, we should still try to remain neutral, and we should just do our duty in that particular situation. Whatever is our duty, dharma. And we should do our duty, not getting emotionally affected, because when we get emotionally affected, then we won't be able to think clearly and do what we are supposed to do. Mm. So in all circumstances, we should just do our duty, and for the results, just depend on the Supreme Lord. Whatever He gives is good, is fine. In all walks of life, very very important. Like been saying, this is the Brahma Bhuta. We have to come to this stage. Otherwise, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param will not happen. Krishna is saying pure devotional service will not happen. So, for which we have to do work, depend on Krishna for this. And whatever comes, good, bad, ugly, just take shelter of Krishna and remain neutral. This is the sum and substance of Grihastha Ashrama. Do duty, depend on Krishna for results. In all circumstances, remain neutral. Don't get affected by the. There any question on this?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Prabhu, equipoised and neutral both are same, Prabhu?
Ah.
They same. Okay.
So the test is one should not be affected by lament. Actually, I was reading first canto. So Prabhupada writes in this verse which describes that the reading Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution for getting out of material miseries. And he says that simply by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Nityam, one should stop getting affected by material miseries, lamentations, etc., etc. And it says this is the test of the submissive hearing of the devotee. Mm, Very, very. Let me see where that. Mm, Very nice. Mm, mm, 1.7. Mm. These are practical tests. The conclusion is that simply by hearing the Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, one can have direct connection with the Supreme Person of Godhead. Huh? And thereby one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusion, and fearfulness. These are practical tests for one who has actually given a submissive hearing to the readings of Srimad Bhagavatam. So one can attain the highest perfection of life by transcending worldly miseries, illusion, and fearfulness. These are the practical tests one who has actually given a submissive hearing. So if we are actually hearing Srimad Bhagavatam submissively, then we should transcend worldly miseries, illusion, and fearful. This is very important. यस्या वैश्रूयमाणायां कृष्णे परमपूरुषे भक्तिरुत्पद्यते पुंस भयापहः. Simply by giving oral reception to this Vedic literature, feeling for loving devotion service to Lord Krishna puts up at once to extinguish the fire of love. So this whole thing will happen. It's saying sprouts up at once. Mm. Krishna Paramapurushe Bhakti Utpadyate. Feelings of devotional service. Prabhupada translates as loving devotional service because nothing like non-loving devotional service to Krishna. Loving devotional service sprouts up at once. Mm. At once. That also Prabhupada is adding. And it removes Choka Moha Bhaya. So we have to give submissive. We have to submissively hear the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. बादरायणेर्वाच इत्युदीर्य गतो जीवो ज्ञातयस्तस्य ते तदा विस्मितामूचुः शोकं चित्वात्मः स्नेहशृङ्खलाम्. Sri Shukadev Goswami continued, when the conditioned soul in the form of Maharaj Citraketu's son spoken in this way and then left, Citraketu and the other relatives of the dead son were all astonished. Thus, they cut off the shackles of their affection, which was due to their relationship with him, and gave up their lament. So immediately, Chitva Atma Sneha Shunkalam. Chitva, cut off. Atma Sneha, affection due to that relationship, which was like iron shackles. They just cut it off. Simply by hearing this conversation, or the words from the dead son. So if we are in any situation lamenting for the loss of somebody, etc., read this chapter. We should just read this chapter. remember, and just we should, yeah, become free from lamentation. Nirhritya ज्ञातयो ज्ञातेर्देहं कृत्वोचिताः क्रियाः तत्यजुर्दुस्त्यजं स्नेहं शोकमोह भयार्तितम्. After the relatives had discharged their duties by performing the proper funeral ceremonies and burning the dead child's body, they gave up the affection that leads to illusion, lamentation, fear, and pain. Such affection is undoubtedly difficult to give up. They gave it up easily. Mm. Again, they gave up the affection, sneha. They gave up that sneha that leads to shoka, moha, bhaya. So, what leads to shoka, moha, bhaya, and arti, distress, is this sneha, affection. And this is very dustyajam, tatyajahu. You gave up. It is very difficult. It is difficult, very difficult to give up this affection, maybe. But they gave it up very easily after hearing the conversation. So, this affection has to be turned towards. Mm, we should understand that the relationship, whatever rasa, mellow that we get from any material relationship can be obtained from Krishna. Is there in Krishna. So if we just develop a relationship with Krishna, then we can experience that mellow. And any mellow in connection with Krishna doesn't give distress. Like material. Mellow means relationship. So material relationships can give us distress, but Krishna doesn't give distress. So it and material affection results in shoka, moha, shoka, arti, pain. बालज्ञो व्रीडितास्तत्र बालहत्या हतप्रभाः बालहत्यावृतं चेरुर्ब्राह्मणे ब्राह्मणैर्यन्निरूपितम् यमुनायां महाराजा स्मरन्त्यो द्विजभाषितम्. In Kritadyuti's co-wives who had poisoned the child were very much ashamed. What is the use of being ashamed? They lost all their bodily luster while lamenting. They remembered the instructions of Angira and gave up their ambition to bear children. Following the directions of the Brahmanas, they went to the bank of the Yamuna, where they bathed and atoned for their sinful. In these words, the word Balahatya Hata Prabhaha, particularly noted. The practice of killing children has existed in human society for a long time, but in the days of yore, it was very rarely performed. At the present moment, however, in this age of Kali, abortion has become very common, and sometimes the child is even killed after birth. If a woman performs such an abominable act, she gradually loses all her bodily life. It is also to be noted that ladies who had committed the sinful act of administering poison to the child were very much ashamed, and according to the directions of the Brahmanas, they had to undergo atonement for killing the child. Any woman who has ever performed such an infamously sinful act must atone for it. But no one now is doing that. Under the circumstances, the woman responsible must suffer in this life and the next. Can please inform this to other people who get this abortion done. They can say, you can tell them clearly, as a well-wisher, suffer in this life and next, not just next life. Those who are sincere souls, after hearing this incident, should refrain from such child killing and should atone for their sinful activities by taking to Krishna very seriously. There's nothing else required. So we can just take Krishna consciousness very seriously. If one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses, all of one's sinful actions are surely atoned for immediately. But one should not commit such deeds again, for that is an offense. This is also very important. If one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses, we've discussed about offenses multiple times. So one has to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra without offenses. There's one confusion about offenses generally. So there are, so Prabhupada talks about 10 plus 1 offense. So there are 10 offenses, which we should all know. And then there is a 11th one, which is inattentive chanting. Now, previous acharyas talked about the 10 offenses. Now, and the 10 offenses actually, the root of these 10 offenses is the 11th offense, which is inattentive. But there's one technical difference. The 10 offenses actually is offensive, intentionally offensive towards Krishna, meaning, sadhu ninda, guru ravagya, etc., all those 10 offenses, they are intentionally done. And that's why they're called offenses. They're intentionally done. Meaning somebody intentionally, criticizes a Vaishnava, somebody intentionally doesn't follow Guru's instructions, somebody intentionally thinks that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is just some, like a karma kanda activity, etc. These are intentional offenses. Okay. So the intentional offenses, when one is doing intentional offenses, it's called nama aparadha. When one is not intentionally doing these offenses, but still ending up with inattentive chanting, this is not considered, in one sense. So let me explain. The 10 offenses, if one overcomes the 10 offenses, and if he's still doing inattentive chanting, he can still get liberated. Okay. So why Prabhupada is highlighting this inattentive chanting is because if we are chanting inattentively, we can't get Krishna. Okay. And it is also offensive in the sense that it is disrespectful of Krishna, but if it is done intentionally. So please note one thing. Some devotees, while chanting, they have their mobile phones near them, or they're chanting, chanting bead in their right hand, and then in the left hand, they're doing things. Don't intentionally offend Krishna. Meaning, don't intentionally engage in other parallel activities, other activities alongside chanting. Okay, that is not acceptable. But you're sincerely trying to chant, and your mind is wandering here and there. That is understandable, right? And that doesn't, it's not taken as seriously. Yeah, of course, then you don't get Krishna prema. That's the main problem. And for us, we're not here for liberation, right? And chanting without offenses, which is, one is free of nama parada, one gets liberated. So just reiterating, don't engage in intentional offenses towards the holy name. Okay, if it is unintentional, if it is just happening because of the nature of our mind not being in control, etc., which is okay. And which is why in the 6th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, 26th verse, Krishna says, Yato yato nischarati, manas chanchalam astiram. So this mind is chanchala and astira. It is fickle, and it doesn't remain fixed in one place. So Krishna is saying, wherever it goes, just bring it back. Atmani eva vasham nayat. You bring it back under the control of the Atma. So if we are engaging in chanting process or the bhakti yoga process, bring it back into the chanting. That's all we should do. And that is sincere devotion. So I just, like last week, spoke about in our satsangs. So, you should please hear that. Actually, it's some realizations I got when I was giving this class. So this, the chanting process, actually all that it requires us to be sincere. We just need to be sincere. So there are two parts to the chanting, right? One is clear pronunciation, mm, which is very, very important, which is half the battle. Because automatically, our by because that's the activity of the tongue, and um, tongue comes under control. You simply have to chant nicely, pronounce Krishna's names nicely, right? Then the second part is about the hearing, and the hearing is the one which controls the mind. Please note this. Um, if you're just simply chanting properly, mind is not engaged in that activity. Because we are so used to just blabbering, the mouth just you can just keep talking without any, even if we are not giving attention to what we are speaking, we can go on speaking, right? And the whole in this chanting process, the whole idea is that the mind is engaged. Yoga indriya samyama. So the whole process of yoga is to control the senses, and mind is the chief sense. So when we are chanting, we have to hear, and if we don't hear, then the mind will not come under control. Which is why some devotees keep, they say, bro, I've been chanting for a long time, but nothing is happening. That's because we are not hearing. So somehow we have to make this extra effort. Prabhupada, I think in Namamrita somewhere I was reading, Prabhupada says, try to chant lovingly. And elsewhere Prabhupada says, try to love Krishna. First time I read this, I was like, how do you try to love somebody? Um, it has to be natural, but that's our fallen state, that we can't naturally love. So we have to try. We have to try. And how do we try? By hearing about Krishna. Like I was saying, uh, topics about Krishna that we hear should become like a hyperlink, like a click. As soon as the word Krishna comes out of our mouth, or Hare, we should understand what is Hare, we should understand what is Krishna, and immediately connected, hyperlink, because you are computer savvy, and it's like a click. You click, and then Krishna's world should open up. But that can happen only if we are attentively hearing. Otherwise, what are we? We don't even know what the mouth is uttering. It's so attentive hearing is everything, and which is why we are advised to chant in the association of devotees in front of Tulsi Maharani, etc. Because in case we are not able to hear our own chanting because of our pathetic fallen condition, maybe there are some really elevated devotees around us chanting. And when a devotee is chanting with love, with affection, anybody who hears it will be affected. So in this chant and be happy, actually there is Prabhupada writes about this. Chanting should be heard from the lips of a pure. So if we are in the association of really good, elevated, sincere, serious devotees in Krishna consciousness, yeah, high chances that maybe we are not at that stage, but there are somebody else, one or more of them who are sitting around us, who are chanting very nicely, right? And just by hearing their chanting, also will be benefited. And of course, then the side benefits of devotees coming and helping us out if somebody is drowsy, sleepy, etc., etc. But more importantly, is to be able to hear this nama when we ourselves are not able to do it. So this is very, very key. Mm. So Prabhupada is talking about Balahatya, so killing, aborting children, and at the same time saying what is the atonement is simply to take to Krishna very seriously. Again, this word seriously, sincere, being in Srila Prabhupada. We have to note this. And there's no other way. There's no other way. It's not just by simply engaging in bhakti that we are going to achieve. Only by engaging in bhakti seriously can we achieve Krishna. Yesterday I was reading His Holiness Shiva Maharaj's book. Mm, one particular book where I was really it really hit me. Of course, I mean, this would be the state of all exalted souls. But he was writing in that book, and he was saying that once he was somewhere in Vrindavan, and because of exhaustion, I mean, on a yatra or something, and where which place, he said that, then took a short nap somewhere in one of the pastime places. And he said that in his dream, Radharani came, right? And I mean, in some context, he was saying that, and saying that the mind has to be so much absorbed, Radha and Krishna, that when we are sleeping and we dream of Radha and Krishna, and that doesn't happen that easily, right? At least fortunate. There are some souls I know who are very fortunate, who talk about seeing their guru very often in their dreams. And somewhere Prabhupada has written saying that dreams are generally speculative, because what is a dream? Dream is combination of two things that the mind has two or more things the mind has experienced, or something the mind has experienced before, and it could be a combination of what mind has experienced before. Like Prabhupada says, a mountain and gold gets combined to form a golden mountain, like that. So, but he says that when a dream is in connection with spiritual things like guru and bhakti, and Krishna, I mean, that means we are serious. So, but these things will not happen if we are casual. So, yeah, same hammering that happens. Very purport. So, any questions on these offenses? Anybody? Was it clear what I said? So, just repeating, don't intentionally engage in the 10 offense. This is the most important thing in chanting. Helplessly getting dragged here and there is okay, not considered so brutal. Okay, but intentionally dragging yourself into some conversation, into some thought, and as soon as we realize that our mind has gone else, we have to try sincerely to pull it. And this is the crux of making, doing good chanting, and it's everything actually. We'll realize, you know, and hearing from the lips of a pure devotee. So these two are very, very important. Is that clear? Anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hmm.
Prabhu, one question. I mean,
Yeah.
while we are aiming to do chanting in the morning, sometimes it goes during the day
Hmm.
because we are not able to complete the rounds. And
Hmm.
if it is 2 hours continuously, we are sitting and chanting, just in case if something in between it comes, so can we stop that round and then finish that and then come back, Prabhu? Is that okay? Instead of chanting and doing the other activity for 1 minute or 2 minutes, is that
Okay,
like
so thing is saying that we're chanting during the day, so is some reason we're not able to chant morning, and we are chanting during the day, and the interruptions that happen during the day. Now, obviously, I mean, first of all, we should not chant during the day, which is the reason, right? See, some once in a while, these exceptions are maybe okay, because also have to be really concerned how frequent it is, right? Um, mm, Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. So we have to be careful about how much we excuse ourselves for doing such things. Um, it's good if it doesn't happen too often, and when it happens, once in a blue moon. Um, yeah. So your question is, can I just interrupt my chanting, do that distraction or whatever, and then come back to chanting? Yeah, it's much better than continuously remaining distracted. So ask the and finish that off. If there is something like finish it off, right? Normally, we see that we get into something and we keep getting into it more and more. So you have to be very careful about this. If it's not emergency, if it's not urgent, just put it off till you're chanting. Better to follow that than giving an option to the mind to engage in something material. And then, see, the problem with this is that the mind goes into the topic and it doesn't come back, because the topic is of importance, right? So, um, yeah, it depends. Depends. So, ideally, like I said, yeah, we should not chant. mm, yeah, beyond 7 o'clock is really bad chanting. But yeah, if we have to do that, then we should be very careful that subsequent to an interrupt, it's not that our mind just now is completely dragged into that topic, whatever. We have to be careful. But it's better than parallelly, like really intentionally chanting and also doing something else. So better than that is to just beg for forgiveness and interrupt your chanting. Mm. A slightly higher. Okay, so let me answer it this way. That mind sometimes will just take such opportunity, right? So some serious devotees, you know what they do? If they're interrupted during the chanting, they repeat that round. It's just like it's to dissuade us from thinking that everything is important, right? Because okay, if I'm really getting interrupted, mm, if that thing is so serious, okay, let me be ready to repeat the round. So then we'll be clear, are we really, is that matter really serious, or it's just our mind? Is that okay, Vamshi Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. I think the ideal scenario is find a time which does not disturb us uh, during the chanting.
Find the
And
time in the morning to chant. And that is the best thing.
correct. Otherwise, maybe like you mentioned, a little bit trying to be hard on ourselves and then repeat that round, automatically our mind will
Yeah,
stop disturbing us.
sure. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Okay. Saitam प्रतिबुद्धात्मा चित्रकेतुर्द्विजोक्तिभिः ग्रहान्ध कूपम निष्क्रान्तः निष्क्रान्तः सरः पंकाद इव द्विपः. Thus enlightened by the instructions of the Brahmanas, Gira and Narada, Chitraketu became full of spiritual knowledge. An elephant becomes free from a muddy reservoir of water. Chitraketu came out of the dark well. Do you better description? Dark well of family. We have to be aware of this, of the fact this is a dark well. Unfortunately, or for whatever reason, we are in this dark, and we better make effort to come out of the dark well, right, and not go into further darkness. And that is the reason, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya will actually remind us on a daily basis about these things which are basic, right? But without hearing this on a routine basis, then we'll just take things for granted. Just think, okay, yeah, we're fallen grihasthas. This is another thing that people, we are fallen grihasthas. Always remember that how many? 7 out of our Mahajanas, or 8 out of the Mahajanas are grihasthas. Whatever the number is, it's not that because we've entered grihastha life that we disqualify ourselves. It's our own. We just want to disqualify ourselves. It's not the reality. It's not the real situation. But because we want to do some nonsense, so we'll disqualify ourselves and thereby give ourselves license to do some stuff. But we should remember that the family life. And of course, we don't have to, it's not a disadvantage. We should always remember that whatever state we are in is the best for our spiritual progress. And so we don't have to look at brahmacharis and feel they have their own challenges. Everybody has their own challenges. And if we remain, we have to remember, which is why, my Guru Maharaj wrote this book, Brahma and Krishna Consciousness. It helps us to um, remain a brahmachari in whatever ashrama we are in. And then we can, yeah, to come out of this muddy reservoir of water. कालिन्द्यां विधिवत् स्नात्वा कृतपुण्यजलक्रियः मौनेन संयत प्राणो ब्रह्मपुत्राववन्दत. The king bathed in the water of the Yamuna, and according to prescribed duties, he offered obeisance to the four gods very gravely. See again, very gravely controlling his senses and mind. He then offered his respects and obeyed Ma, Gira, and Narada. So they were his spiritual masters, and this also tells us how we have to deal with very gravely controlling senses and yeah, familiarity breeds contempt. Always good to not become too familiar with us. Always, and which is why servants and secretaries of these great souls of great exalted Vaishnavas, they are really, I mean, it's a penance, because they're going to get mercy, free mercy, not free mercy, what should I say, ready mercy, because of their commitment. But they need to be really careful, right? They need to be grave all the time, always remembering that they're serving a pure devotee, a representative of the Supreme Lord, and not take, not take it for granted. And so Chitraketu came out of all this and very gravely he offers respects and obeys. अथ तस्मै प्रपन्नाय भक्ताय प्रयतात्मने भगवान् नारद प्रीतो विद्यामेतामुवाचः. Thereafter, being very much pleased with Chitraketu, was a self-controlled and surrendered soul. Narada, the most powerful. There are three stages in Chitraketu's consciousness. First was a very fallen, conditioned state, right? When Angira first met him, Chitraketu was lamenting for want of a son, and then Angira did not give any instructions to him at that time. He just gave him a benediction, which was supposed to wake him up, right? Which it did. And then second time when Angira and Narada Muni came, again Chitraketu was in lamentation for having lost his son. And it was the opportunity for them to give him basic spiritual knowledge. I'm not the body, I'm spirit, soul, karma, rebirth, etc., etc. Right? So ABCD, the very foundational knowledge was given, and then which brought Chitraketu now to a stage of being self-controlled. I mean, amazing, right? He became self-controlled and he became a surrendered soul. Now Narada is giving him further instruction. Now this is to take him to the perfection. Right? And we should also note that we should also progress in our spiritual life in this way. Initially, when we come into Krishna consciousness, we are materially inclined. It's understandable. But then as we hear, read, chant, associate with devotees, go on yatras, etc., etc., we should at least come to the stage of Brahma Bhuta, right? Not, dealing with this material ups and downs with a mind, understanding that we are not the body, we are spirit, soul. So that is Brahma Bhuta. No Sochati, no Kankshati, no lamentation, no hankering. And then we can actually, that's the second stage, right? And the third stage is when we can go into serious business, serious devotion. And while the process is powerful, right? But there are also certain things that a devotee does as he makes, which is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, So Krishna is going to give us intelligence for our progress. If it was all same for everybody, then Krishna wouldn't have said this. Means that once we come to this serious, you know, self-control stage, then we are going to get more direct instructions from Krishna, within and without. Krishna does that by mm, either making some devotee speak to us about something, or by bringing us in contact with some writing, some instructions from previous acharyas, etc. Various ways, and to even more purer devotees internally. But we should not misunderstand. Our, um, so internally means that from within, please get directions. Was right in Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna controls uh, the devotee to the extent of his surrender. For a pure devotee, he completely directs his senses, directs their senses, right? So literally, Supreme Lord is directing them, in their action, in their thought, everything. Um, that's a very exalted. But for others, it can happen through other devotees. It can happen through some shastra that we come across. It can happen through some special arrangement. Sometimes, we go and sit in some class, and suddenly we hear something that we were looking for. Mm. I hear some devotees always telling this, that, that whatever was discussed in the class was so relevant to me. I said, yeah, that's Paramatma's see, right? He makes the speaker speak some things which were required for us, and he does that because we are sincere and seeking answers. Mm. So this is all Dadami Buddhiyogam. Now, it's the same class, possibly all two different devotees heard or were impacted in different ways. Um, so we have to be sincere, and then in this third stage, Krishna is going to start. Of course, this happens even before, but more seriously, towards things like what is our rasa, or what should we read, what should we do, etc., etc. There's so many things which can happen, which happen in the life of a devotee. Of course, for a general instruction for everybody is, when we are in doubt, or if it is something that came into your mind and you want to know whether it's right or wrong, approach your guru, right. um, I've told this before. At some stage I didn't know whether what I was doing was right or wrong in in my mind, and then I wrote to my Guru Maharaj, and mm, he told me what exactly I had to do, right. So we should not shy away from, and that's the whole idea of initiation. um, you know, Go seek from Guru. And don't be satisfied with the intermediaries. In some very, very critical parts, somebody might say, okay, I'm answering on behalf of Guru. No, which is okay for normal day-to-day guidance. But if it is something really serious, right, not of the ordinary, not run of the mill, we should go to our, which is very, very important, because otherwise we might just speculate and end up completely, in the wrong, um, yeah, going on the wrong path. So we should do that. But the important thing is that, like Citraketu, he came, and the is giving him some exalted instructions within, by following which actually Citraketu sees Sankarshana within 7 nights. That's what Narada does. Okay, so I think we'll stop here. A beautiful prayer glorifying Sankarshana. So we'll tomorrow. Any questions, anything else? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Like,
Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. A quick question, Prabhu. So you mentioned that, yeah, I mean, if it is a serious conflict that we should approach Guru,
yeah.
but I mean, as you could see, I mean, Guru may not be around all the time, right? So what happens in that situation, Prabhu?
Why Guru is not around all the time? Of course, if
No,
he's
in the
left
sense
this
that, yes, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
manifest world, yeah, then see, okay, one thing we have to understand, okay, um, how does, okay, maybe a leading question, how does Guru come to know what we are doing in spiritual life? Hmm. Or the other way of putting it, right? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. So if I have to, if will Guru be pleased with me only when he comes to know from my own mouth what I'm doing? How does this work?
Maybe
How
when
does
he
this?
hears from other devotees or how he is
Yes, okay,
progressing also.
he doesn't hear from me, he hears from other devotees. Okay, okay, what else? How does the relationship between the Guru and disciple work?
I mean, basically, it's up to the sincerity of following the instructions of the Guru,
Yeah. See,
the
Paramatma is
disciple.
the Paramatma is the one who is telling the Guru, not some other devotee.
Mm.
Okay. So we should understand that this whole relationship between Guru and disciple is transcendental. Okay. So irrespective whether the Guru is
Mhm.
in this martyr, is manifest in front of us or is not, that relationship, if it is a sincere, if it of devotee who is sincerely surrendered to the Guru has his ways communicate. It will come.
Yeah, but in the example you have given that you said like you have to approach Guru,
Yeah. So
because
Guru will
there's no
see.
intermediaries that would work. I mean, I'm just talking for a lot of, I mean, for my other friends also, or devotees that
Okay.
I know, that they took initiation and then the Guru Maharaj, like their Guru Maharaj left the world, right?
Hmm.
So what
Yeah.
happens in that
Yeah.
situation? How
Vani.
do
Vani.
they
Vani.
feel
Vani.
very much deprived, I mean, very much disappointed. So what happens to them?
Yeah. Vani. No, which is
Warning.
why the relationship of the between the disciple and Guru is not just Vapu, right? It's Vani. So if we are hearing, we will get our questions answered. We have to be hearing. Mm. And like I said, of course, again, it could happen through other exalted Vaishnavas coming and speaking to us, etc. So many ways it can happen. But normal recommended process is to hear. And you might have something in mind and you're wondering what to hear. Suddenly, something comes your way and you hear that and you get your questions answered. Hasn't this happened? This would have happened to so many devotees, right? So that will continue to happen. But see, if somebody doesn't is not in the habit of hearing also from their guru, then that's the basic question we keep going back to, saying that is that still called initiation? Is that initiation? What did we initiate ourselves into? Nothing. Right? So yeah, we should be in this habit of hearing regularly from guru. That is also one very, very powerful way of instructions, directions, and which will continue even if the guru is not manifest in front of us. That okay?
Hare Krishna
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam Prabhu.
Pranam, pranam. Can I add something
Yeah,
here?
yeah, please, please, yes.
Uh, Actually, as Prabhu's you have answered correctly, Guru knows, but sometimes we suppose we can write also. Nowadays, can have so much facility there. You can email and maybe you
Correct,
won't get immediately in a 1 day or 2 day. But
correct.
generally, Guru also read your heart. I am telling my personal experience. What happened
Hmm.
about few years back? My younger son, grandson was not well, and we shown so much any doctors and different doctors. This was happening like this, and then have full family was intense. Actually, then we shown him to in India's best doctor in Bombay Beach Candy. Her child, this one. So actually, call on Zoom it was there. He invited us, and we disconnected. Everybody call, and only one of our family member was not disconnected. They started discussing. They say after they thought Kate may be canceric or something like that. They gone to kind of so much things actually. We got more worried actually, like frankly tell you, after those conversation of doctors actually. And I was I was very tense. You believe it, Prabhu? After within 2 days before they going Bombay, my Guru Maharaj called from there, Mayapur, his secretary. He called Mahavara. Okay, Guru Maharaj, I am with Guru Maharaj, and he's asking, and Cool is very tense. So call him and ask him what is the reason actually. I told I said, he put on speaker, I said like this happened and like this happened. So we shown. He said, no worry. Okay, I'll pray for him. Everything will be fine actually. So then suddenly one of other in PGI kind of doctor is there equal to him actually. So Bombay. And my nephew was health secretary. You see, chief health secretary of government of Punjab actually.
Okay.
Otherwise, he does not come on June. So I called him. I said, Vikas. He said, yeah, Mamaji. I said, okay, you are in which department? He said, I am health secretary now. I said, I want to speak to so and so in PGI. But Mamaji, he generally does not speak on Zoom. But if you want appointment, I can arrange. I said, okay. But when he called him, my mama wants appointment and like that, he said, no need, just take on Zoom. So we speak on Zoom. He said, no need to come. Here, Dr. Sagari, then Esther, Bangalore. And you contact him. Whatever treatment he's saying, you go ahead. Nothing will, don't worry. We, he told, he said, don't go for biopsy, don't go this, that, nothing you're doing, just go to Dr. Sagar and can you tell everything will be fine. It was when we went to Dr. Sagar, he said nothing is worried, no need test, nothing. With report, he is a junior anesthetist and he start treatment. And what I'm telling you, start treatment. You and started steroids, slightly heavy doses. Within a week, he started recovering actually. He's still the injection, but he's a kind of fever broke down there. He was getting fever continuously and like a lot of problem, body pain, this was there. So every fever broken in 1 week and everything was fall in line. So that I had experience of how Guru had reciprocated sometime with you, Kenam, without asking also actually.
Yeah, but I want to add for the benefit of many devotees who don't know Anukul Prabhu's relationship with his Guru Maharaj. Anukul Prabhu has served, because they should not assume. I mean, this won't happen to every devotee, right? So it's because Anukul Prabhu and Mataji, they have so nicely served their
It is, I can say it is Guru Krishna and Prabhupada mercy. I got it.
But why will Guru think about somebody? I mean, yeah. So let's take this, right. So His Holiness Jaipadaka Maharaj has thousands of disciples. Is he? I mean, is it that he's thinking about every devotee?
Prabhu,
Not be, but definitely it's like yesterday we were reading Sankar Krishna, is especially inclined to his dear devotees, especially inclined. Right? So there would be a special inclination to all devotees who have selflessly served Guru in direct capacity, right? And I've seen that even in case of my Guru Maharaj, servant secretaries who have served him before, he just doesn't. I mean, they're such exalted Vaishnavas, they'll never forget, right? Forever. And those great souls who got the opportunity to personally serve such exalted Vaishnavas, they're never forgotten.
Prabhu,
Right? So
he's
yeah.
for everyone. Guru is for everyone actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that, yeah, it should be for everyone, fallen souls like me, definitely. But I'm sure that that
Prabhu, as you said, Karam, I agree with you 100%. Actually, fairly, attachment, and it is different. I used to, when my frankly tell you, I used to, when problems were there, I used to dream. Once I got a dream, okay, we are having some. I did not exactly a dream ke which hall. I said this type of hall is there. Guru coming program that Sindhi hall. So we had a next program was in Sindhi hall. Actually, this was the reciprocation I was getting, but maybe not so much now because can I frankly tell you, but not so. But that time he was there. And you believe it, before he got stroke, I had a dream. Okay, we are serving on roof and he's not able to walk. He's on sitting chair. I told Guru Maharaj and I said, he just didn't reply on that point. And few years back after stroke also, I got a dream in my house that he used to he used to take generally dinner up in my room outside. One small sitting was there. He used to come up and used to take dinner up. So he used to walk catching that grill. And same I dream that he's walking down at grill. When I told Guru Maharaj that dream came true, this dream also should come true. He said,
Hey.
don't tell me this. Don't tell me this. You tell Mahavara. He will be most happy. Actually. But that not happened, Prabhu. Sorry, Kanam. I took more time.
No, bro. These are the things, real stuff, right? Whatever I am speaking is just this is the real
Thank
stuff.
you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna for giving me time to speak. Actually,
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, bro. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so this is the advantage of being in the midst of devotees, that we get to hear some real stuff. Thank you so much, bro. Okay, I think we're already timed out. So thank you all for joining.
1 minute, Prabhu. Actually, thanks to Madhu Pandit and Prabhupada, okay, this problem come at. I got a lot of sannyasi gurus to say, like Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, I saw a lot actually personally, and other sannyasis or lot of sannyasis I saw personally actually, in those time actually, So that was the sannyasis and guru's mercy which I was able to do some service actually, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Vanchakala. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vanchakalpata.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Devi Pranam.
Hare